Hello and welcome everyone to the weekly Delphian meeting. Thank you for tuning in. So today's agenda, we'll go through the market update, just briefly talk about earnings, and then Joe go through his analysis. So let's get started. Okay, so major indices, NASDAQ, SPX still in one, and Russell just transitioned to state one yesterday. So ones across the board for major indices. ETFs mostly bullish. I guess energy is the only one that's in a bear state. Most of them are ones or fives. So, Russell was just in five and, tripped to one. So, these could probably be following suit. We could have almost ones across the board. Uh, if we continue climbing. So last week, 75%. So we're at 80. I'm sure Joe's going to talk about that. Um, so obviously, we're in a overbought condition, being at 80. Doesn't necessarily mean that, a turnaround is imminent. Hard to predict that, but I will say, state ones are up at right around 41%. So our oversold for that's 45. So um, obviously, from that bottom back in October, we've had good transitions from 8 to 7 to 5 and now 1. So it's been a complete turnaround for the market. So let's look at the market pulse here. Let's see, too much going on there. Okay, so just ones and eights. Eights, this is back into October. The eights were 63. We're down to 14. It's been, pretty much exponential drop for those and just steady climb for state ones. We got the initial bump from sevens there, and then those started going to five. So a lot of those fives have gone to one. So that's pretty much exactly what you want to see from a bottom. If you're bullish overall, eights to seven, 7 to 5, and then fives to ones. So it's been quite a rally from that bottom here. October 27th, pretty much been straight up almost 2 months. Um, with seasonality right now, typically we grind higher up until the end of the year. That's what seasonal is. So hard to say exactly when things will turn around, but one of the key points I want to emphasize this week is here our new highs. We hit like a crazy number there, 785 symbols had new 52-week highs. So if you just go back in time, when's the last time we had numbers that high? Back here, that's pretty much near the end of the bullish market. We had 730, then all our reds start happening. That's pretty much the top of the market right around here. Before here, when we're really bullish, this is what happens, right? We get all these highs. You can see on the bottom here, they're just, flatlined. So this could, this is looking like a very positive sign. Pretty much, we had some lows here, but since then, pretty much nothing going on with the lows. So pretty much flatlined, and we're getting these peaks on the highs. So that's very bullish. That's what we want to see, bullish markets. All the indices are obviously in state one. So what happens next is, they'll go to two. So, bullish wise, we want to see 1, 2, 1, 2. So, I just thought this was very interesting to see this high of a number here. So, it's been a long time since we've seen that. So overall, very, very bullish there. yeah, overall bullish bearish. You got the 80. Sadir had some data. I think Joe probably that's kind of his wheelhouse, Joe, that you guys talk about that. The numbers over 80. Don't want to steal your thunder, but you know,
Come right ahead.
yeah, last time, this is the last time we got to 80, February 2nd back here. Bullish bearish. But it's been a long time since we've had the state ones that high. So this doesn't happen often, where we're getting above 80. And so that's it for market pulse. Let's look at the states. So I think the key thing here is target 3. Obviously, really good job, state 1. We'll give that a check, hit all the targets. So right now, the key is watching this. And last time I looked, we were above this. So, if we can stay above here, that could mean, because about, 20-30% of the time we hit like target 3, we get above there and this acts as support, this thing can really go. So that's kind of what I'd be watching SPX wise. Is this a level 47.53, 54 kind of area? That's what I would be watching there. 25 days in, average is 43, obviously already hit above what the average is. So, clearly been a good state 1 here. So, back here we had the 1, 2, 1, and then, things turned over, but, back here we're back in 1. So never got below 4. So that's a, there you go. So we'll just have to see how this plays out, but that's kind of the key thing I'd be watching is, this level staying above that. And then, obviously the Russell's been going like crazy. Chart wise, well above the moving averages, 5,200. So we are getting close to all-time highs here. I believe the NASDAQ hit all-time highs. Is that correct, Joe? Do you know that? I saw some.
Yeah, I think that, yes, Josh.
So that one has been leading. So I think this is the all-time high here, 48.18. So we're getting pretty close to that. SPX was 4777. So pretty close, closing in on that. We'll go back to the chart here. All right. Trying to get 4,600. There we go. Someone sneezed. God bless you. Yeah, so we are in a new range. So this was previous 46, 42. So now we're 46 and off the board is that'd be 5K would be the top. So lower level will be support 4,600. Obviously, that target 3 also is going to be support because we're right above that. So if that does act as support, I'd expect, we could run pretty strong into the year end. If that target 3 holds, if we hold above there. So there's your top of your range, 5K. That would be, and our all-time highs are right above here, 48.18. So really close to that. Okay, that's it for SPX. Russell, this one I kind of highlight this. This is what we talk about a lot with the, coming off the bottom. So we had 8, nice 8 stayed there, and 7, 5, 1. So that's what we, see off the bottom. Even here, did the same thing. This is obviously a bad 8, but 7, 5, 1. So, we'll see how this state one. It started good so far. Out of the box, we're up today. So, our range here is 19 to 21. So that 2100 is right in our first level of resistance. So, typically it'll kind of go like this for that state. So, expect pretty strong resistance, more than typical in this range, right around that 2100 number. But we'll see how this plays out over the next few days, weeks. But yeah, that's our range here. So let's look at the chart there. Okay. So I did want to pull this out. So our three previous tops. So this high number was 2031. I believe we eclipsed. Yeah, we're above that right now. So this could be the end of, we got through these three levels now with lower highs, these three peaks. So we're through all three of those right now. So we stay above that, just like kind of like the S&P being above target 3, holding above that. If we can hold above this, these peaks, I would expect like we could, rally into the year end. That's just kind of how it's set up, even though we're, definitely overbought. At some point, we'll pull back here. I mean, it's been almost 2 straight months, like just, jumping up, but, staying above this, I think is very important. I can't even get the 2100 on here. So, long term, I mean, we're way off of all-time highs for Russell. That's back here, 2461, I believe, that one right there. That's the all-time high. So we're way off. Whereas, NASDAQ made new all-time highs and S&P is right, knocking on the door. So this one is obviously way behind, but yeah, so there's our range. I'll pull it up here. 21. There's our 19. So I'm pretty confident we're going to be in this range. It just doesn't feel like we're going to drop back below that 19 in near term. All these other previous peaks, ran up, came kind of right back down shortly after. We'll have to see, if we repeat that. But like I said, if we can stay above these levels. My mouse is 1 second. There we go. 21, 20, 30. We stay above there. Confident we'll test this 2100. That's kind of where we're at. Overall markets. Obviously, 10 years been very helpful for the markets. 6 months. So we got up. That's right before the market bottomed. We went through these charts last week, but it's been pretty much 1% cut. I'd say over 1% at this point. That we got up to 5 and pretty much turned around. So we're 1% below that. So it's obviously good for the markets. Oil's come down pretty good. So a lot of tailwinds for the markets based off of this action. So expectations are for the Fed. So this is the next meetings in end of January. Pretty much no cut at this point. The first cut's pretty much priced in March for a quarter. And then, if we go all the way out a year from now, pretty much, look at the expectation. That's 1.5% cut by next in 1 year. So, and those keep falling. A month ago is 425, so dropped another 50 basis points. So expecting big cuts next year. And like I said, if our correlation holds up, that we've been tracking for over a year that money supply and CPI, if that holds up, then this could, easily, come to fruition. So balance sheet, nothing really going on. So, it kind of highlighted that 7.5 trillion number, based off of the analysis we did, with the peak year and when they ran into problems. So, just keep my eye on that levels. And, seems like maybe, around February, March, probably get around there, I would guess. Just keeping an eye on it, but, they continue, slowly but surely, kind of straight line there. Decreasing about the balance sheet, but, historically, we're really high up. I mean, you go back in time. Since this whole, party started, back 08, really, we're astronomically higher. So, got a lot of work to do here. Let's keep our eyes on that. And I think that was it. I didn't have any good charts. But I'll open up to questions, comments on the market overall.
Well, this is Dave, and I'd like to hear what Sadir has to say. I guess he's coming up, but it seems like there's no reason to be bearish right now. I can't see any negative major things on the horizon. And it's been grinding higher ever since the Fed went on pause. So why
Right.
not all the same? Yes, I
Yeah,
agree with your comments exactly, Josh. Right on. You can stay overbought for a long time.
yeah, we've done that before. That when was that? We had that one crazy time. Well, there it was. This one here. Oh, sorry, current states here. Yeah, this is state ones at 77. Yeah, 45 is kind of the level, and like we just really took off, there. I'd have to pull up the bullish bearish on that time frame, but that was kind of a time where it just kept going. Doesn't happen often, obviously. Normally those kind of levels will peak out. I think this was it up here. Yeah, because we stayed up, like really high for a long time in the 80s. Obviously, very bullish time there, but doesn't happen often. But you can get good runs once you're up that high. So
What was it, like 60 days?
I didn't. I don't have the count.
Okay.
What's that?
Just,
The state? Are we talking state one?
well,
No, this-
staying in that
bullish
high
bear.
bullish state.
Like over 80. I think. Do you have those numbers, Joe?
Which numbers are we talking about? The pie overall?
Yeah, pie.
Yeah, the pie in 20. Yeah, let's I do have them.
Yeah. Well, we can come back to them. I don't know.
Yeah, in 20, the pie was over 80, and actually, Sadir had sent these too. Basically, end of November to the end of December of 2020, and it was like 27 days where I guess the pie was over 80%. But as Dave, so aptly pointed out, you can stay overbought for a long time, and a long time. And I think we're just getting started here. And I think it is the combination of, length of time, average moves, how long, the pie may, be over 80%, you know, and then, you know, how long you can stay in these state ones. And I got a chart for that later on, Josh, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's that combination, but yeah, we can, and we're still not at 45 in the state ones. And, yeah, as you pointed out, it seems like everything is just saying, away we go.
Mhm.
Can
Yeah,
I comment on the email while you got it up?
Yeah. Go fire away, Sudhir.
Please.
So for the group, I sent this to Josh and Joe earlier today. I think I mentioned on the call that I track in an Excel file the level of the green pie, started doing it in September of 2020. And so we hit above 80% when the database updated yesterday evening. And so I went back and looked in the time I've been tracking it, you can see the pie was above 80% November 20th of 2020 to 12/30, 27 trading days. And in that time, NASDAQ went up 8.6% and S&P up 4.9. Just a few days later in 21, it went above 80 again for 14 trading days. NASDAQ rose in that 14 days, 6.9%, and S&P 2.7.
Yeah.
15 trading days. And then just a few days after that, in February of 2009, February 9th of 2021, sorry, it went above 80 for another 9 trading days. And this time it dropped. NASDAQ dropped 3.4% and S&P fell 0.8.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all those three are very close together, and the Fed was keeping interest rates virtually at zero and expanding the balance sheet. So there's, you know, 2 factors, what the Fed is doing and what the pie is doing, which is what the people playing the market think.
Mm-hmm.
After the Fed started raising the interest rates in March of 2022, and the balance sheet peaked in April of 2022 and has been steadily going down since. There's been only one instance until yesterday where the pie was above 80%. That was January 31st, 23 to February 7th, only 7 trading days. But the NASDAQ rose 4.6% in 7 trading days. And the S&P went up 2.1. So, you know, it's kind of looks like a blow off top. It can be as long as 27 trading days.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't have data before 2020 when I started tracking it, and, you know, but yeah, the market moves moves upward when the pie's above 80 in pretty dramatic fashion. So we may have that in the next few days.
Yeah. I have the same feeling. You put it down here nicely. It's great analysis, Sudhir. Anyone have comments or questions on that?
I would agree. That's a really good analysis. Thanks, Adair.
You're welcome. This is one of the things you can do with the Delphian database that you just can't do anywhere else. So it's very handy. I'm looking forward to some what Joe has put together in more in a longer time frame.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do on the pulse, but I think it's gold 9, for market analysis. So. Well, thanks, Adair. It was great analysis.
Thanks, Sudhir.
Okay. Anyone else? Questions, comments on the market? I'll pull up. Yeah, we only had one trade so far for Q4, and that was a non-mover. That was I think the day after the meeting. So that was Lennar, and Iron Butterfly. So we opened that on the 14th. It closed out the 19th. Nice profit. So these have been really good trades over the past year. These non-movers. So good start. But that's it so far. I think we have some pre-runners starting. But that was it on earnings. I think that was it. Any questions for me before we turn over to Jim?
Josh, Robert here.
Mhm. Yeah. Hey.
Any thoughts on a local company, Jabil, that's going to be entered into the S&P 500?
Who is it?
Jabil, JBL.
Oh, this one, Jabil. I don't even know how the JBL.
Yeah.
I've heard of them. I don't know much about them. I think it's
Evidently,
IT related, right?
excuse me.
It's like internet type related, right?
Able is a contract
Manufacturing.
manufacturer,
Yeah, components.
electronics.
Yeah. Huh, St. Pete. You know who would know a lot about this? I'm sure is the Shook. I don't. I've heard of them, but I didn't even know they were local.
Yeah,
You
they're
said they're-
assembly house. They're an assembly house over in St. Petersburg for electronics assembly, kind of like high-end stuff. Apple's one of their clients, and
Hmm.
yeah, so it's one of the fewer U.S.-based assembly houses like that. Think of it
Mhm.
like Foxconn for only small, but that's
Yeah.
what they think of. If you think of their business, it's like Foxconn.
Well, it's really taken off. You said
Yeah,
it's going into the S&P, Robert?
Yeah, it's supposed to, I'm not sure when, but I was looking at the state modeling on
Mhm.
Delphian. It looked interesting.
Yeah, I haven't looked at this one.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely had quite a run here.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, you familiar with this name? Like
Yeah,
track?
they should benefit from like the onshoring or the supply chain, with friendly U.S. U.S. suppliers. They should benefit from all that. Yeah, in my
Mhm.
but they're not well known, just like you've discovered here. But I know because they're over in St. Pete. I went over and looked at it once. Actually thought about working there way back in the day.
Yeah, been 1-2 since August 2022. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. That'll do it. Some good earnings probably here too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on the 1-2 roar. That's a long time to do it. Yeah, I mean, obviously continue higher, keeps doing this. But I don't know that much about it, earnings wise, stuff like that. But quite a run. Anyone else have comments on that? I'm just not that familiar with the company.
I'm the same, Josh. I've heard of it, but don't know
Yeah.
anything about them really.
Yeah, I'll have to pay attention more. I didn't know it's that local. So, well, thanks for bringing it up, Robert. So I know more about it. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Joe.
All right, Josh, and yeah, not a lot. And Sadir, again, thanks for that analysis. Certainly, there is gold in that there pie, and yeah, over 80% yesterday for day one. And I think in this particular instance, we still have quite a ways to go. And I would just, I think I may have pointed out last week, we've added this number up top here. That gives you the number of issues tracked in the database. So it's just shy of 4,100 at this point. I guess as I pointed out earlier, we did a little analysis on consecutive pi days up, and generally, after we get those consecutive pies up or down, we get continuation, moves in that direction in the market. So I think that's certainly a positive. As Sadir pointed out, at 80% now, day one, there's a darn good chance we're going to get, a run here now that we're over 80%. And, looking at, the dashboard a little bit, just, average moves. If we just look at, the top three indexes, SPX, average move 5% in state one, and we are at our peak at a little over 6% in this particular move. NDX again at its peak, just shy of 10%, exceeding the average move. Russell, put on 6% on top of the run we've already had. That would be quite a return on the market, and I honestly think that's where we're going. I think it was weeks ago where we had transition SPX, NDX led by XLK, which preceded NDX by 1 day. That was a month ago now when we were talking about XLK, and there's NDX, XLK, 31 days, in state one, NASDAQ 30. We've still got time. Josh has been talking about the seasonality of, December for 4 weeks. We've got 18 days left, for the average move in terms of SPX, in terms of time. 9 days, with NDX. Heck, Russell, we're just getting started. We got north of a month. And, don't forget, months ago, and I'm not saying this is where we're going, but we're talking averages here. And, clearly, something has changed in the market here, since the Fed pivot end of October. And, when you start talking extremes in terms of time, and we haven't even reached averages yet, but SPX, we're talking, 120, 125 days. That happened back in, I think, 2021. So I'm not saying we're going there in terms of time, but I think in terms of the extreme. But, we still haven't even gotten to the averages yet. We've got seasonality. We're north of 80% in the buy. So I think, we're going to just continue to drift or move north. We'll see whether it's a drift or not. I don't really have, too many charts to pull up today. XLK, we know it's been off to the races and, a real leader. Just 2 other quick charts. We talked about oil, I think maybe 2 weeks ago and, talking about a 5-wave down pattern and thinking that maybe we would, I think we were talking about holding in the 67 range. We traded lower than that. I find it interesting that we rolled into a state 8, just yesterday. So, it'll be interesting. Obviously, that would be a tailwind for the market if we get another leg down, in oil. And I forget who it was who asked, maybe Dan a couple of weeks ago, why is oil down, and didn't have an answer for that. But it'd be interesting to see where, that state 8 takes us and whether it turns out to be a tailwind for the market going forward. In terms of time, darn near a month. So, and the average move is, very significant. So it'll be interesting to see whether that turns out to be a good state 8 or, one of those state 8s that occasionally we get at bottoms of the market. And let's see, last one was just the SPX. Going back to, some of those dates that Sadir had pointed out, over 80%. We were over 80% in this period here, okay, in the pie, over 80%. And, over 80% in this period here, in the pie. And, look at what the S&P did from there. And, I think I talked about that last week. I don't really view, the 80% level as an overbought level. For me personally, it's more, where's the market 6-12 months out? And, as we mentioned last week, it's on average double digits, close to 15% higher. I think over the last, number of years, when the pie gets to 80%, 6 to 12 months later, we're a solid 15% higher. And, I don't see any reason why that won't be the case this time around. So a lot of bullish talk on these calls last few weeks, Josh, huh?
Yeah. Should we be worried?
I honestly, unless you get something out of the clear blue, I don't think so. I think, we're talking about all the things we've been talking about, double-digit earnings growth going forward, and obviously a lot of money flowing into equities. So I did not have anything else, besides that today, but.
Okay. Yeah, just no, we're not going to do a meeting next week, during the holiday. We'll resume our meetings. Now I have a calendar.
Maybe
the 3rd.
January 3rd, I think.
Yeah, January 3rd. So next week we'll give everyone a week off. Okay, well, thanks, Joe. Is anyone got questions, comments before we wrap it up?
Dave, one more thing I wanted to say, like with Joe and the oil, there's seasonality to the oil trade as well. It's always up in May or just before summer, and then it's kind of like down. No matter what, the supply and demand is, the price of gasoline changes pretty seasonally too. And now we're at the kind of like the bottom part of that. So that's not surprising. And I would not be surprised that that's kind of a tailwind, like you said, Josh, for the rest of the equities markets that are, people have more spending power, they spend. So
Yeah,
we still have the Santa Claus
season.
right. Santa Claus rally and Santa Claus trade for tax harvesting is still to come up too. So, lots more things to be bullish about than bearish about. So let's go markets. Happy trading to everybody for the end of the year, since we won't be talking next week. Good luck to everybody.
Right. Yeah. Well, thanks, Dave.
Yeah,
Thank
question.
you, Dave.
Robert here.
Yep.
Yeah, how's Dave coming along with the focus groups?
It's coming along slowly. Let's say that. Bringing Wally P. This is for another group, but yeah, it'll happen in January. Well, it's like 80% probable for that other meetup group to be have some focus groups in it. I think that was the question, correct?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
wondering,
Yeah.
what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Just call me, or does everybody have everybody should have my home phone or my cell phone and whatever, but yeah, feel free. It's I can't, it'd be too long. We'll close the meeting before it's posted, but use my regular email and just my name, dave.bruss@gmail, and you can send something to me that way. And I'll reply and give you my trading kind of Gmail account. I try to track all the people that are, self-minded traders in a different one. But Dave.Bruss is easy to remember. So BRUSS is the last name.
All right, thank you, Dave.
And it's a Gmail account, not a yeah. Happy trading again to everybody for the rest of the year. I think we'll all.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for a good year, for your participation, and hope everyone has a good holiday break, and see you next year. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for your participation.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.